Good evening. I am Nathaniel Bandalan together with
I am Ryan Jasmine R. Falcon, and this is a let review for the contemporary world.
okay, so first is number one. So first question is it refers to the decentralization of political powers or competencies from a higher towards a lower political level. So A. Neoliberalism. B. Regionalism. C. Communism. D. Internationalism. The answer of this is letter B. Regionalism. Alright. So, why regionalism? Regionalism is a political process where authority is transferred from the central government to local or regional entities. This allows regions to govern themselves to some extent, tailor policies to local needs, and foster a stronger sense of identity and autonomy. It strengthens local governance o mag-promote sa nisag mga participatory democracy. Next will be question number two. Um, it is an external phenomenon that being pushed into the region by world powers. A. Journalism. B. Globalization. C. Internationalization. And D. All of the above. The answer is alright. Letter B. Globalization. So globalization, it is driven by global economic and political forces, often from dominant countries or corporations integrating markets, cultures, and kanang governance systems. These forces nag-influence na siya mga regional dynamics, frequently bringing in foreign media and mga practices that may reshape mga local traditions and economics. Next, let's proceed to number three. Question number three. It is the central global force in the early modern world economy. Letter A, global. B, globalization. C, Asia. D, Asia Pacific and South Asia. Answer is, alright, letter C, Asia. Asia is the prior to European dominance, especially China and India. So it was the hub of global trade and wealth. These regions were known for silk, spices, porcelain, and other valuable goods. It makes them key players in the pre-modern um, global commerce. European colonial ambitions were largely aimed at accessing this wealth. Asia. Next is number four. Question number four is blank was not simply a practice of Western domination but a product of what one thinks as a Western and modern. Letter A, globalism. B, colonialism. C, internationalism. D, regionalism. The answer is B, colonialism. So, colonialism, it was rooted in ideologies of modernity, civilization, and mga progress as defined by the West. So, kano siya kay it was justified through ideas of bringing modern systems to primitive societies. So, though sa ilang mga practice, it often involved exploitation and mga cultural erasure. So it shaped both colonized and colonizing societies. So now, next is the number five. Number five, um, entails complex and dynamic interactions between and among governmental and non-governmental actors which resulted to hybrid East Asia. A is economical, B systematic, C communication, D regionalization. The answer is alright, letter D, regionalization. Oh, regionalization, it is a bottom-up process where local actors, the states, mga NGOs, mga businesses, um, kani siya kay mag-interact and collaborate across sa mga borders creating interconnected regions. So sa East Asia, this has led to economic and cultural integration resulting in a hybrid systems. Um, Kani siya kay nag-blend din siya sa mga global influences with local traditions. So next is number 6. Number 6. How are the development of new enterprises in the Philippines? Um, yeah. How are the development of new enterprises in the Philippines influenced by government policies? Letter A, strict regulation and control. B, liberalization and deregulation. C, um, C, high taxation. D, nationalization of businesses. So the answer is, right, letter B, liberalization and deregulation. Um, by reducing state control and sa pag-open ng mga markets to competition and mga foreign investment, liberalization and deregulation made it easier for private enterprises to thrive. So kaning siya nga policies, these policies encourage entrepreneurship and allowed more players to enter various sectors, stimulating some innovation of kanang mga economic growth. Ano siya? Next, number 7. So, what markets did these new enterprises in the Philippines focus on? Letter A, export markets only. B, domestic markets only. C, both export and domestic markets. Letter D, regional markets. So the answer is alright. Letter C, both export and domestic markets. So why? Enterprises in the Philippines strategically cater to both local consumers o sa mga international buyers. So exporting kay it allows them to tap into mga global demand while serving domestic markets helps build mga strong local base. So kani siya nga strategy kaning dual strategy, it diversifies mga revenue streams. It also reduces dependency on a single market. Ano siya? So next is number 8. 8. What is the goal of neoliberal economists and institutions? Letter A, to strengthen local state oversight. Letter B, to maintain traditional economic practices. C, to dismantle local state oversight. Letter D, to promote social redistribution. The answer is, alright, to dismantle local state oversight. So, kaning neoliberalism, it promotes kanang mga free market capitalism. It advocates kanang mga minimal state intervention in economic affairs. So, institution like kanang mga IMF and kaning World Bank often kanang ginapush nila ang mga structural reforms that reduces sa mga kanang state control, aiming for efficiency and market-driven growth. Though critics argue this can deepen ang mga inequality. Ano siya? So, next is the Number 9. 9. The Global South represents a shared experience of subjugation under which global systems. Letter A, Cold War. Letter B, colonialism. C, post-colonial international order. D, capitalism. The answer is B, colonialism. So, kani siya, kani ang Global South includes mga many nations that kanang naka-experience og mga colonial rule. It leads them to kanang mga shared histories of exploitation, cultural disruption, o kanang mga underdevelopment. Kaning mga legacies, it continues to shape contemporary political and economic realities, often in the form of systematic inequalities o kanang dependency. So, muna siya ang pala niya sa number 9. Next is number 10. What concept does the Global South capture in relation to capitalism's externalities? So, letter A, geographic boundaries of wealthier countries. B, um, the territorialized geography. C, economic north in the south. D, subjugation of wealthier nations. So the answer is letter B, the territorialized geography. So, kani siya um kayong Global South kay wala siya kanang dili siya defined kanang strictly lang sa geography, but by its economic and historical position in global capitalism. So kaning nga term, it captures the shared impact of capitalism's externalities, like kaning mga labor exploitation or kaning mga environmental degradation. So kana siya ka it transcends traditional national or kaning mga regional boundaries. So next is number 11. What is one Number 11. What is one of the primary factors contributing to the growth of the middle class in the Philippines? Letter A, high inflation rates. B, remittances from overseas Filipino workers. Letter C, government corruption. And D, declining job opportunities. The answer is letter B, remittances from overseas Filipino workers. So, kaning remittances, it was sent by millions of OFWs. So, significantly contribute to kaning mga household incomes. So, it allows mga families to invest in education, not just in education but mga housings o kaning mga businesses. This inflow of money plays a crucial role sa mga Filipinos into becoming a middle class and boosting um, domestic consumption. So, siya. So next is number 12. 12. What is the main focus of the state region making in Southeast Asia? So letter A, economic development. Letter B, political stability. C, cultural preservation. And D, environmental sustainability. So the answer is right. Letter A, economic development. So kaning mga Southeast Asians, it states kanang prioritize ilang states kay kanang naka-prioritize sa mga economic development through regional collaboration. So dili lang sa regional collaboration but also sa mga trade agreements o sa kanang infrastructure projects. So kaning organizations like mga ASEAN or it promotes kanang regional stability and integration with the ultimate goal of fostering shared prosperity and reducing inequality. Russia. So next is number 13. So in the context of state region making, what does ASEAN stand for? So A, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. To B, Asia Southeast Alliance Network. To C, Southeast Asian Economic Association. Or letter D, Asian State Empowerment Network. The answer is A, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So kaning ASEAN or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations kay it is a political and economic union of the 10 Southeast Asian countries. So kani siya it aims to promote kaning intergovernmental cooperation, regional peace o kaning economic integration o kaning tawag gani social cultural development across sa mga region. Ano siya ang ASEAN or the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So next is number 14. So number 14 is it is a phrase frequently used to describe a developing nation. Letter A, three primary concepts of global south. Letter B, the third world. C, the third wave. Or D, the global south. So the answer is letter B, the third world. So kasi it originally coined during the Cold War or Third World nilang gitawag. It described countries na nga wala naka-align with either the NATO bloc or sa kanang Soviet Union. Over time, it became synonymous the developing or underdeveloped nations. So true sa kanang mga terms is now like considered outdated and pejorative by many. So na siya. So next is number 15. Right. Number 15. Um, these forms of the global south while embedded in specific geographic imaginaries represents emergent. Letter A, progressive cosmopolitan. Letter B, provisional internationalism. Letter C, external phenomenon. And letter D, emerging powers. The answer is A, progressive cosmopolitan. Urban nations in the global south, such as China, Brazil, and India, have risen as influential actors in the global economy. While ang uban, it only share historical experiences of colonialism or mga underdevelopment or kaning mga underdevelopment. Tapos karon kay they now exert ang mga increasing economic and political powers, signaling a shift in global dynamics. Ano siya. So next will be the number 16.
Okay, for the number 16, I will continue. Number 16. Which continent was often considered a laboratory of modernity during the early modern era? A. Europe. B. Africa. C. Asia. D. Australia. The answer is A. Europe. Nganong Europe man? Europe pioneered many modern systems like capitalism and colonialism, making the ground for global modernity. So, murag sila ang sugod ani sa kanay laboratory of modernity. Next is number 17. Colonialism during the early modern period can be described as a practice of Western domination exclusively, a practice of Asian domination exclusively, a mutual exchange of ideas and technology, or D, a product of both Western and modern influence? So the answer for number 17 is D, a product of both Western and modern influence. Why? Because colonialism blended with Western Western values and modernization ideas. It was not just about domination but also an idealistic project. So muna siya diha nag-start pud ang kanang mga product na murag na katawa na combine. Next is number 18. Which continent had the most important trade routes during the early modern period? Uh, A. Europe, B. Africa, C. Asia, or D. Northern America. So the answer is C. Asia. Asia was the hub of ancient and early modern trade, for example, the Silk Road, the spice trade, and long before the European dominance. So, mo ni kasagaran jud moagi ang mga traders sa Asia mo bitaw ta nakit-an bitaw ko ta ni Magellan kay dito ba sa niagi diya sa Asia na part. Next is number 19. Number 19. Um, what term was frequently used during the Cold War to describe the developing nation? So, A, the First World, B, the Second World, C, the Third World, or D, the Western World. So, the answer for number 19 is C, the Third World. Nganong Third World man? Third World was used for nation not aligned with NATO or the Soviet bloc, typically under development country. So, muna gitawag siya kuan third world kay wala man siya na-align sa mga nation perhaps sa NATO o sa Soviet bloc. Next is number 20. Number 20. How are third world countries often characterized? A. High levels of education and infrastructure. B. Proper sanitation and access to healthcare. C. Low levels of education and poor infrastructure. D. Economic prosperity and industrialization. So the answer for number 20 is C. Low levels of education and poor infrastructure. Ngano man, these are the key characteristics of undevelopment common among the third world nations. So, mo jud ni kasagaran na i-characterize sa mga third world countries, mga dili pa ka sila develop, man low pa lang education o poor pa lang mga buildings o mga sa mga infrastructure. Next is number 20. Number 20. Galileo's non-violent is now part of what global culture? A. Protest culture. B. The consumer culture. C. The pop culture. Or D. The capitalist culture. So the answer for number 21 is A. The protest culture. So unsa man yung protest culture? Ang Gandhi's non-violent strategy is globally used in movement fighting injustice becoming a core element of protest culture. So, mo ni ang kanang core niya na diha nagsugod ang mga protesta, kanang mga protest na non-violent siya para sa mga tao. Next is 22. 22. Which sector of the economy often provides a job for the middle class in the Philippines? So, A. Agriculture. B. Manufacturing. C. Servicing. Or D. Mining. So the answer for that is it is letter C. services. So why services man? The services sector like mga BPO, retailing, mga teaching and etc. is the main job provider for the Filipino middle class. So mo ni kasagaran trabaho para sa middle class diri sa Philippines. Next is number 23. 23. What is the main mechanism for social redistribution in the context of economic globalization? So, A. Foreign investment. B. International financial markets. C. State intervention. Or D. Private enterprises. So, the answer for this is letter C. State intervention. So state interventions, governments play a key role in redistributing wealth via programs like education, healthcare, and welfare. So mo intervene rin ang state or ang government para at least ang paghatag sa wealth kay equal siya para naapod sa education, naapod sa health, o naapod sa welfare para po sa mga tao. Next is number 24. Number 24. What is the approximate percentage of Philippine population considered part of the middle class? So A, 20%, B, 40%, C, 60%, or D, 80%. The answer for this is letter B, 40%. So, ano 40% man? The estate shows about 40% of Filipinos are middle class, defined by steady income, consumption, and urban lifestyle. Kasagaran sa mga Filipino or 40% of the Filipinos are in middle class tungod sa ilang income, tungod sa ilang pampalit, o unsa po ilang lifestyle na ilang gipang buhat. Next is number 25. 25. What does the term Global South primarily refers to? So A. Countries aligned with NATO and capitalism. B. Economically disadvantaged nation state. C. Wealthy countries in the Northern Hemisphere, or D. Developing nation with advanced infrastructure. So the correct answer for number 25 is letter B. Economically disadvantaged nation state. So ngano man sila ngano gana man ang term sa Global South. So the Global South introduce countries facing a long-term economic and social disadvantage, regardless of the geography. Bahalag bisan asa pa ka diha if ang giterm ana na nation or state kay global south, meaning ana you are economically disadvantaged nation states. I mean. Next is number 26. Number 26. Which Southeast Asian countries is known for rapid middle class formation in the recent years? So A. Indonesia, B. Cambodia, C. Myanmar, or D. Laos. The answer for this is letter A, Indonesia. Ano ang Indonesia man? Indonesia's rapid economic growth has created a booming urban middle class, particularly in Jakarta and major cities. Muna ni boom sila tungod sa ilang mga business o sa ilang mga tawag na infrastructure. Muna ang ilahang mga middle class in major cities and Jakarta. Next is number 27. Number 27. How does education affect social mobility in the Philippines? So A, it has little impact. B, it has a significant driver. C, only for the upper class. D, the benefits most of the lower class. So the correct answer is letter B. It is a significant driver. Ngano significant driver man ang education diri sa Pinas. Education improves job access, income, and social status, playing a crucial role in upward of mobility. So muna ilan jud ingon na pagtarong jud og eskwela. Next is number 28. Which country becomes a major source of international immigrant labor during the globalization? So, unsa na mga country? Is it A, India and China? B, is it Japan and India? C, China and Philippines? D, China and Japan. So, the answer is letter C. China and Philippines. Ngano China and Philippines man? The China and the Philippines are leading source of overseas labor, especially in manufacturing and caregiving sectors. Kasagaran diri sa Pinas kay mga nurses, mga teachers, o kana mga caregiver na nibalhin sa laing nasod kay tungod sa income. Apil pud ang China ana. Next is number 29. Which region is home to the key allies and emerging power like China, India, and Indonesia? So, is it A, East Africa, B, Latin American, C, Asia, or D, Europe? So, the answer for number 29 is C. Asia. Why Asia? Asia is a center of economic power and regional cooperation, hosting many of today's emerging global players like sa Philippines, katong atong sa number 28. Kita man ang source sa mga nurses, caregiver, teacher, mga seaman, mga ina kay umuumpot ni hawa man sila diri sa Pinas kay para makakita og dako-dako na sweldo. Next, for the last number, number 30. What is the role of globalization in poverty and inequality? A. It eliminates poverty in the global south. B. It interfaces poverty in the global north. C. It spreads both poverty and affluences globality. Or D. It reinforces theoretical poverty lines. So the answer is it spread both poverty and affluences globality. So, ano mo spread man siya? Globalization some benefits some and harm for others, redistributing wealth and poverty unevenly. So, medyo uban country across the nations and regions na medyo mga corrupt muna mo spread jud ang poverty and mo influence siya sa globality. Kung ang kana man gud na country kay pobre, kawan siya magkatakod-takod man jud na siya. Okay, that is all for our let review with realization the contemporary world.